You are standing on a subway platform, or walking through a busy airport terminal, or sitting in a packed stadium. You are surrounded by hundreds of people. You can hear them breathing. You can feel the heat radiating off their bodies. You are physically closer to other human beings than you have been all week. But you have never felt more completely alone. Most people assume this feeling is a psychological failure. We call it alienation. We blame modern society. We blame our phones. We blame the fact that we live in concrete boxes instead of tribes. But that is not what is actually happening. The loneliness you feel in a crowd is not a malfunction. It is not a symptom of a broken society. It is a highly calibrated 200,000-year-old biological alarm system. And it is ringing because your brain is currently experiencing something it was never built to process. For decades, sociologists and psychologists have studied urban loneliness. They assumed the problem was emotional. They thought we were just missing deep, meaningful connections. They told you to join a club, to call your mother, to find your tribe. They treated the symptom, not the cause. They assumed the human brain was a blank slate, capable of adapting to any social environment. But the brain is not a blank slate. It is a highly specialized organ, shaped by millions of years of evolutionary pressure. And that advice completely misses the mechanical reality of what is happening inside your skull when you walk into a crowd. To understand why you feel empty when surrounded by people, we have to look at a number. A very specific number that dictates the absolute limit of the human mind. In the 1990s, a British anthropologist named Robin Dunbar was studying primates. He was looking at the brains of different monkey species and comparing them to their social group sizes. He noticed a perfect correlation. The larger the neocortex, the thinking, planning, social processing part of the brain, the larger the troop of monkeys. Then Dunbar plugged the size of the human neocortex into his equation. The result was a number, 147. Usually rounded to 150. This is Dunbar's number, and it is the absolute cognitive limit of the human brain. 150 is the maximum number of individuals you can have in a social network where you actually know who each person is and how they relate to every other person in the group. For 200,000 years, this was the size of a human settlement. Hunter-gatherer bands rarely exceeded 150 people. Even today, in isolated tribes in the Amazon or the Andaman Islands, the average village size hovers right around 50. Think about what that actually means. In a group of 450, you do not need a police force. You do not need formal laws. You do not need ID cards or credit scores. Social pressure and mutual recognition are enough to keep everyone in line. If you betray the group, everyone knows. You are exiled. And in the ancestral environment, exile meant death. Inside a group of 150, everyone knows you. Everyone knows your name. Everyone knows your reputation. If you do something brave, the whole group knows. If you steal food, the whole group knows. There is accountability. There is accountability. There is a web of shared reality that holds every single interaction together. But here is what happens when you step outside that circle. When the group size exceeds 150, the brain can no longer track the social web. The connections break down. But the brain doesn't just stop at 150. It actually fractures the social world into distinct, concentric layers. Dunbar found that we process people in multiples of 3 or 5. The innermost circle is about 5 people. These are your intimate loved ones. The people you would call in a severe crisis. The next layer is 15. These are your good friends. The people you would invite to a dinner party. Then 50. Then 50. Every layer requires a different amount of emotional and cognitive investment. You cannot maintain the same level of intimacy with 150 people that you do with 5. The brain simply does not have the metabolic energy to do it. But what happens when you are forced to process 500 people? Or 5,000? Think about your morning commute. Think about walking through a busy shopping mall. Your brain is suddenly being forced to process thousands of faces, thousands of potential social signals. And here is the terrifying part. Your brain cannot just ignore them. Deep inside your skull, the amygdala and the fusiform face area are constantly scanning every single face you pass. They are subconsciously trying to categorize every stranger, friend or foe, threat or neutral, high status or low status. In a tribe of 150, this scanning takes a fraction of a second. You know everyone. The system is at rest. In a city of millions, that scanning system is running at maximum capacity, 24 hours a day, processing millions of unknown variables. It is a massive, invisible cognitive load. When your brain encounters too many unknown faces, it triggers a mild but constant stress response. Your cortisol levels rise. Your heart rate variability drops. Your body is literally preparing for a threat that isn't there. You are walking through a shopping mall, but your nervous system is reacting as if you are navigating through a hostile territory filled with unknown rival tribes. This is why you feel physically exhausted after a day in the city. It is not just the walking. It is the sheer metabolic cost of processing thousands of social threats. To protect itself from this cognitive overload, the human brain developed a defense mechanism. It shuts down. It depersonalizes the crowd. It turns the people around you from complex, three-dimensional humans into background noise, into obstacles, into furniture. This is why you feel a sudden spike of irritation when someone bumps into you on the sidewalk. This is why you avoid eye contact on the subway. This is why you put on headphones the second you step outside. You are not being rude. You are managing a neurological traffic jam. But this defense mechanism comes with a devastating side effect. When your brain forcefully categorizes hundreds of people as background noise to save processing power, it also turns off your capacity for social resonance. You are physically surrounded by your own species, but neurologically you are completely isolated. Your brain is telling you that you are alone in a void because it has classified every living thing around you as non-data. This is the paradox of the crowd. The more people you are surrounded by, the harder your brain has to work to ignore them. And the more it ignores them, the more profoundly isolated you feel. We treat this feeling like a disease. We pathologize it. We tell ourselves that if we just had more friends, or went to more parties, or posted more online, the feeling will go away. But adding more people to a crowded room does not cure the loneliness. It only makes the cognitive load worse. It only forces the brain to build thicker walls. We built cities of millions. We built digital networks of billions. We connected the entire planet. But we did not upgrade the hardware inside our skulls. We are running a modern world on Paleolithic software. The loneliness you feel in a crowd is not a sign that you are broken. It is your brain's way of telling you that you have exceeded your evolutionary design. It is a biological compass pointing you back toward the 150. For 200,000,000, your ancestors survived because they stayed inside a small, tightly knit circle where every face was known. Every interaction had meaning, and no one was ever just a stranger passing in the dark. You feel lonely in a crowd because your brain is desperately searching for a world that no longer exists, and it is waiting for you to build it again.